Hello and welcome to the weather update. It's 11 o'clock, January 15th, 2022, and you can see all the winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories inland for this next storm. But for our area, it's going to be mostly a rain event with the wind, and it's going to be pretty impressive storm. But right now, we're still dealing with the cold out there, and wow, it was a pretty chilly day today. Highs only, I think we didn't make it out of the teens today. Right now it's 12. It's 12 degrees in Islip, 12 degrees in West Hampton, 13 in the city. We still got the northerly winds, so we're not seeing any radiational cooling yet. Let's see if they're seeing any in New Jersey. They are not. 13 at Lakehurst, but still very cold and very bone dry air. These dew points are very low. I see -6 there at Lakehurst. Dew point of -4 at Islip. So yeah, we're dealing with some pretty bone dry air, and that is not a good situation because we've had the fire that happened last night in Mineola. It reignited tonight right around the same time, and it was just all over again. That'll be another video, but it just goes to show you what the downside of this really dry air, and especially when you don't have any snow on the ground, things are just so dry. This is very low humidity that we're dealing with, and you have these wind gusts here, which are highlighted in red. We're still seeing wind gusts up to 26 miles an hour, so we still got that wind chill as well with this cold air as well. Let's look at our highs for the day, and I think we're only in the teens today. Let's see. Well, actually, no, we made it. Well, let's see. We made it to 21 in Carl Place, but it looks like Islip only made it to 19. And West Hampton only made it to 19. Central Park made it to 20. That's still quite a bit below normal. A lot warmer in Jersey. Look at that. Wow, 25. I wonder if those lows were as of midnight, though. So we're going to have to check some of the observations for that and see. Let's go look at some of the actual observations here and see. Because I don't believe that they got with that one today. Let's go ahead and look at Lakehurst right now. Let's close that down. Let's see, Lakehurst. That high was a midnight high. They only made it into the low 20s in Jersey today. Only low 20s. So it's pretty much what I expected. And this morning it was 13, and then it got warmer after that, but very, very cold day. All in all, Islip, let's go look at Islip here. We'll look at the chronology for Islip. And you will see that your highs, only very cold day today. Only in the teens, very cold. North winds, very, very cold day today. Even for me, just a little too much. Especially when we started off with a lot of clear skies, but then we had more and more clouds roll into the picture. Let's go look at the satellite. Where is it? The MODIS satellites. This is the MODIS satellite. You see, this morning we were clear, but then these cirrus clouds kind of rolled in on us as the day went on, and we were dealing with a fairly decent amount of clouds. So you didn't have a nice blue sky. No sense going to the woods and dealing with that, dealing with freezing, and not even having a nice blue sky. So that's why I didn't go. Too tired with all the stuff going on around here. It's absolutely crazy. So we can look at the satellite loop. There is the satellite loop right there, and you can see we've cleared out again. The clouds have been pushed to the south, but these clouds will come back at us tomorrow, I think. So let me go to the radar, which I forgot to pull up again. With everything going on again, you're going to have to bear with me. So this is the radar here, just to show you the storm that's approaching. Here it is, taking shape. You can see a lot of heavy rain stretching from Memphis down through Alabama, into the Florida Panhandle. Heavy rain. And that's all going to be moving toward us as we deal with this mess tomorrow. Believe it or not, it's going to go all the way from here toward us in about 24 hours. This area right here where you see the leading edge, that's going to be on our doorstep probably in about 20 hours or so. So 20 to 22 hours it'll be here. There's some other things going on that we want to talk about. There's a big volcano that erupted, and I know there was a tsunami threat. AP through tsunami over 4 feet high crest. So there was a tsunami, and this is a picture from the AP of the eruption on satellite here. This was an undersea volcano, but it actually erupted. So pretty impressive, to say the least. This is an undersea volcano erupting. Now let's see if we can find this on the MODIS satellite, because just all these things, all this hell breaking loose. Here's the storm that Wallop, Nova Scotia, and you can see, let's go to the Nova Scotia, you can see 25,000 without power. CBC says 25,000 without power in Nova Scotia, and wind warnings remain in effect. Let's see if they talk about the amount of snow that they've gotten here. I'm sure they've gotten a lot of snow as well. Snow squall. All right, 5 to 15 centimeters. Yeah, quite impressive. Quite a big snowstorm for them. And again, there was thunder snow, I believe. And pretty crazy. Pretty crazy with having thunder snow. But we do see that from time to time. Oh, there are other incidents that happened. Big power outage. We don't know exactly what the cause of it was, but this was upstate around Syracuse. Parts of northern and western Onondaga County were without power during the coldest morning in nearly 2 years. At the height of the outage, 20,000 National Grid customers in the Baldwinsville, Liverpool, and North Syracuse areas of the county were impacted by the power outages. They say that they had transmission lines down on Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool. The cause of the lines coming down is under investigation, but I have pulled up the street view of these power lines, and yeah, this is what I mean about bad infrastructure. Why is a key transmission line on wooden poles? So this is the line that was affected here. I mean, what the hell? That one's missing even its lightning protection. So yeah, this is not a power grid that's in good shape at all. This is a pretty pathetic looking power grid, actually, I might add. Yeah, this is this should be metal. Wooden H-frames are not strong enough to handle these. Probably a pole snapped from the cold or something, and then one of the wires came down across the phases and knocked this transmission line out. But to have transmission lines on wood is completely unacceptable. Completely. That should never be on wood. They should all be metal. That's absolutely utterly inexcusable, and people need to demand on this freezing cold morning where they lost their power and lost their heat why the electric company is using wooden poles to transmit power to 20,000 people. I mean, I'm talking about transmission lines. The transmission lines should always be metal. They should always be steel. They should always be reinforced. Wood and wooden poles are just ridiculous. Come on already. Yeah, let's go and pull out of this. I want to see if we can find that volcano, if we can. I don't know if we're going to be able to find that volcano eruption here. It's going to be very hard to find. And we have so many other things to talk about. I'm not sure exactly where it is, and we're missing frames on these satellite images, so I can't even find it. We saw our picture already, but pretty crazy. So we got a lot of problems to deal with now coming up. There's your big storm pulling over. They're still dealing with the wind over there in New Brunswick now. But now we go and we deal with this next storm system. All right. And I don't think we're going to see that radiational cooling tonight because, we still have the winds that are blowing. Maybe if the winds lighten up, maybe we'll see that radiational cool. If we do, then single digits and possibly below zero could be a good bet for a lot of areas. The only thing that holds us back a little is that we don't have a snowpack. But anyway, let's go and look at this storm that's going to be coming our way. This is the 0ZH. This is the 0ZGFS, my mistake. So you can see the storm getting together, and you can see just this slug of moisture here. Now, inland, they're going to have a lot of snow. This is going to be a very heavy snowfall for interior areas in the mountains. But for us on the coastal plain, we are going to just be dealing with this tropical feeder here coming out of here. So here it is, right out of the Gulf of Mexico, right in here. This is some really juicy air that's going to be coming up in a very intense LLJ. And that's going to be bringing some very heavy rain, strong winds, thunderstorms possible, maybe even severe thunderstorms possible after midnight tomorrow night. That starts getting out of here later on Monday. We have a high-pressure build-in behind that. And honestly, I'm not going to go beyond Tuesday because we have so much to talk about in the short term. So let's go to the HRRR and look at the 0Z HRRR run as the storm approaches. We're dry for most of tomorrow. Increasing clouds, and then it all starts getting going around 7, 8 o'clock. Light rain, maybe a little light snow to the north and the west of the city, and then the rain continues to get heavier as we get toward 9, 10 o'clock. We start getting into the heavier rain, and then the torrential rain is going to come in after midnight, and possibly some thunderstorms. And that's where you're going to have these very strong winds here with these thunderstorms that are going to come in with this LLJ. And then the low continues to move away, and then the precipitation comes to an end by Monday. But this is really an impressive looking storm. So if we look at the total accumulated precip, the total rainfall, we're going to see, like I said, I think between 1 and 2 inches of rain, which honestly we need. Things have been really dry, and with this really bone dry air, it doesn't help matters. So we do need the rain. And we will get plenty of rain this time, I think. So let's now shift our focus to the winds, because that's our next concern here with these very strong winds. So this is the HRRR wind model, and you can see these very strong southeasterly winds that will come in. This kind of underestimates it a little bit. Let's go and look at the 850 winds. So give me an idea of the winds that are going to be coming in across our area. That's perfect. So this is your tropical feeder slug right here of moisture coming in. And that's it right there, coming in right off the Atlantic. And you got to remember the water temperatures are above normal. So that's more energy into the atmosphere for heavy rain, thunderstorms, and strong winds, and possibly severe weather. We're going to have to look at the SPC outlook too as well. So that moves on out. Once that LJ moves out, it's going to cut off that strong wind. It's going to cut off. But when that LJ is over us for a good, I would say, 2 to 3 hours, is when we're going to see a lot of the damage. Could be coastal flooding, power outages, that kind of thing with this strong LJ. Now, right now, the timing is a little earlier. I think somebody mentioned the high tide is more like 7 or 8 o'clock, so it'll come before that high tide. But I still think there's going to be significant coastal flooding with this event, and then it continues to move in. Look at that. That LJ strengthens as it moves into New England. It gets even stronger. There you go. That's your LJ in the pink right there. Very strong winds. And if we look at what we're dealing with here, as we'll go to the dew points next to show you, again, this moisture slug. So here we are in the bone dry air, and that bone dry air starts getting eroded tomorrow. Winds go more easterly, brings in some more moisture, and the humidity climbs. And you can see we're going to get a little humid tomorrow, especially along the coast there. There's that strong southeasterly flow there, and then it moves, and then the cold air comes back in on westerly winds as we get later into Monday. Dew points. Well, we already looked at the dew points. Let's look at the temperatures here. So to give you an idea, right now we are dealing with some really cold air. It'll be a cold night tonight, but then by tomorrow it relents, and we see temperatures get close to freezing and then go above freezing as we get toward the evening. And then we're in the 30s, 40s, maybe even 50s with that LLJ coming in, and then we drop again by Monday night. So as far as the threat for frozen precipitation, it's not an issue in our area, but it will be an issue inland. But that's not what I'm going to focus on here. So let's take a look at some of the other models that we have to use here as we deal with this storm. So let's go now to the GFS here. So we can look at the GFS, looking at the precipitation pattern here. All right, so this is the GFS, and this is the latest run, 0Z run. And you can see just that heavy slug of moisture. Now, GFS is a little later with this. This brings it a little more in around 7 a.m. So GFS is a little bit slower. So, I mean, the timing, a few hours can make a difference as far as the strong winds. So if we look at the winds here, here we are at 06Z, winds picking up already. and then it has the worst of the wind out of here by 7. So we'll have to see. But the timing is definitely a little slower on the GFS. But you can see that really strong winds. Obviously, it'll be worse right at the coast with that southeast wind, and then we have more strong westerly winds as we get into the evening. The other thing that we worry about here is the wave height. So if we look at the waves here, you'll see. Look at these strong waves coming in right here. And this is going to be a problem. It actually gets worse as it moves further north. So, yeah, Nova Scotia, you're going to get into this. Maine, you're going to get into this and deal with these very strong winds and coastal flooding threats with these very strong southeasterly winds here. So let's look at the total accumulated precip on the GFS. And you can see pretty much we're dealing with that 1 to 2 inches of rain possible. And we can look at the total snowfall here, and you can see inland, we're going to have a decent amount of snow, anywhere from 8 to 12, maybe 14, 15 inches, especially in the mountains. But it would only be an inch or 2 before the changeover north and west of the city, talking like northern New Jersey. Except for the mountains of Sussex, there you could get maybe 5 to 8 inches before it changes over. But other than that, it's not really going to be much of a wintry weather event. It's mainly going to be about the heavy rain and wind and coastal flooding are going to be the main concerns here. So let's we'll just go and look at the skies briefly, the sky forecast, even though I don't really care too much about that with all the other stuff going on. But I'll just look at it on the RGM, and I still got to go over the NAM too as well. So here is the RGM. 15 ZC. Start off with sun in the morning, but I think these clouds quickly roll in by 11 o'clock, and we're cloudy after that. So I don't really, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's go to the NAM, and let's go to the precipitation on the NAM. Actually, we'll do the radar and wind, so you get an idea of here. So what's going to happen? So again, here's that slug again, and you can see that is just going to nail us. And there could be some pretty strong to severe. There could be a severe thunderstorm in there too. Don't be surprised if you get thunder and lightning with it. But there's that line that we've got to watch out for. It's almost like a feeder band coming in. That's what we have to worry about. Let's go to windy.com next, and let's talk about. Let's take a look at the European model as far as this is going to go. We're going to go to the wind gusts to give you an idea of what the wind gusts are that we're going to be dealing with tomorrow night, and going to midnight here. This is 3 a.m. And you're already seeing wind gusts off the Jersey Shore. Look at that, 76 miles an hour possible. Over land, probably a little less, like 50 to 60. But at the water, you got that 63 mile an hour wind gust. And again, here we are at 6 in the morning. And you can see very strong south winds here, 67 to 70. 680 even coming in off the South Shore. And this is really going to just push that water in. I think this is going to be a pretty significant coastal flooding event that I don't think people realize how bad it's going to be as far as the coastal flooding goes here, 9 a.m. And I think this is pretty representative of what we're going to see tomorrow. Again, here we are, and look at that. They're going to deal with this in Maine, and then they're going to deal with this. Look at what happens when it gets to Nova Scotia. They're going to deal with it in Nova Scotia, too. So they're going to be dealing with a lot of this all up the eastern seaboard, pretty much. As we're dealing with this, I don't know what to call it at this point. But the other issue, of course, is the waves that this thing is going to generate. So as we go into Sunday here, Monday morning, look at these waves here. Again, really strong. Look at this. I mean, it has been ages since I've seen this light up like this red off the South Shore. It's going to be significant overwash of some of the barrier islands, I think. Fire Island particularly. I'm surprised that they have not made a call to evacuate Fire Island. I think that might be a good idea at this point, but they have not made that call. I know it's not going to be a long wind event, but the wind has been blowing over the ocean. It's going to pile it up, and you're going to have these huge swells, and the ocean is going to stay rather unsettled even as the storm pulls away on Monday. We're still dealing with all this unsettled ocean, which is going to be a big problem here. For us, for sure. And again, it's a lot of this is due to those above normal water temperatures just feeding more energy into the storm. And you got to remember the models have a habit of underestimating that too as well. So that's another issue that needs to be watched. If we go to the rain thunder risk, You'll see what I mean. It'll probably show some thunderstorms too in there as well. And we're going to look at vent to sky as well, but that gives you an idea of what we're going to be dealing with here. And this is looking at the European model, European interpretation of things. Now let's go to the vent to sky and let's look at what it's going to be like tomorrow, basically in the early wee hours of Monday morning as this thing gets closer. So here's 12 o'clock, and you could see let me go to wind gusts here to get an idea here. And this uses the HRRR. So this is using the HRRR run. Here we are at 3 in the morning, and you're seeing the red. And again, wind gusts possible over the South Fork, possibly close to hurricane force in our area. I think the middle of the island, 50 to 60 on the South Shore. 60 to 70 is a good bet with some of these strong wind gusts. Now, this moves it a little long and a little faster. You see that sharp cutoff. Once the LLJ pulls out, the winds die off a lot. LLJ stands for low-level jet. You should know that already by now. But you can see what happens as it gets into the Cape. It's going to cause some more problems over there as well. And it actually intensifies. Look at that. As it gets into New England, it's actually going to intensify. Oh, my. I wouldn't rule out 100-mile-an-hour wind gust somewhere offshore out here over the water, perhaps. 12. Look at that. That is incredible there. So as we move this along to tomorrow, you see what happens. This thing really picks up intensity as it gets over that warm. Once it pulls the energy in from those warmer than normal waters, it's going to intensify quite a bit. Now, let's go look at the thunderstorm threat. All right, so here we go. We're going to look at the Cape threat. It's not really showing a lot of Cape here, but this can be misleading. Let's look at the lifted index. It's keeping that lifted index offshore, but I really think it's underestimating it. I really do. I think there's a good chance we're going to see some of that convection, possibly a severe thunderstorm. And you got to remember, any one of these thunderstorms is going to be able to pull in that wind. So if I go to wind speed and I change this, and I go look at wind speed, let's go look at 1,000 meters off the ground. This is 1,000 meters off the ground at 1 a.m. tomorrow, and look at that. Sustained wind at 78 miles an hour. So this is the kind of stuff that you're going to be dealing with, sustained winds of. So any storm can take those winds and bring them down to the surface in very violent wind gusts, any convection, and that's the danger, really. And I think the highest risk is going to be South Shore, especially the further east you go, as this thing just picks up more and more intensity. Again, so this is the kind of wind we have just above the surface as we're dealing with this storm. So this is a very concerning, obviously, storm that we're going to have to continue to watch, and I will I'll try to do another weather update as we see some more modeling information tomorrow, and then we watch this tomorrow night, and I'll try to keep you updated, and hopefully the power doesn't go out here. But quite a storm indeed. Let's just go look at the Storm Prediction Center and see if they have anything for our area for tomorrow. I see they have a slight risk for the Gulf Coast. And yeah, this is January. We shouldn't have anything. Convective outlook, nothing showing for tomorrow, but let's look at day 3. Nothing. All right, so I don't know. I think it's being underestimated. I think we're going to see a chance of some more severe weather than what is showing beyond that. But we got to get through this storm, and then we'll talk a little more about the longer range. Let's just go look at the NAM 12. Again, this is the 0Z run of the NAM 12. You can see there is that belt of. The good news is it's going to be moving at a pretty decent clip, so it won't be over the area too long, but it'll be over the area enough to do some damage, I think. And let's look at the total accumulated precip on the NAM. Pretty much in agreement. They all pretty much agree on that. But again, it's that wind that we've got to be concerned about. Here we go again. This is the NAM wind. And again, right along the coast there, especially the east end, you're going to be dealing with those sustained winds, probably 40 mile an hour, and gusts up to 60 to 70, maybe even 80 miles an hour possible. If you're away from the water, maybe a little less, but I still think we have the potential of seeing 50 to 100,000 people lose power on Long Island sometime in the wee hours of Monday morning with these strong winds. And then the wind shifts, and we start drying out as we get into the later part of the day on Monday, and start cooling off. But we've got to get through this belt of rain, this just feeder band of tropical moisture that we're going to be dealing with in about, I would say, 26 hours or so. So That's going to wrap up this weather update. And again, this is going to be a major storm. Let's just go over the hazards that are in effect for us. We've got storm warnings in effect for the offshore waters, gale warning in the nearshore waters, coastal flood watch is in effect as well, and high wind watch is also in effect. So we're going to have to keep an eye on all of this stuff as we head into tomorrow. It is going to be a very active evening into the overnight morning. First, like I said, 1-2 punch the Arctic air, which is kind of rough to deal with, but it's not really causing too much damage. But the second punch is going to be the one that's really going to hurt as we deal with this very strong low-level jet tropical moisture feeder band kind of event that, again, is going to become more commonplace as we deal with the effects of climate change. So I want to thank you for watching and have a good night.